The Georgia Bulldogs and TCU Horned Frogs. That's kind of odd to say considering nobody expected TCU to be here, but they will meet each other in the national championship this coming Monday night. It's David versus Goliath. I know that term's used a lot. A lot of TCU fans doesn't want to hear that, but you were what, 2-10 last year. You've had an incredible run this season with a first-year coach, but you're definitely playing against a team that is well established, who is well coached and well recruited. And the name of this video is why Georgia will win the national championship. Now, before I go any farther, I'm Brian Knight. I'm not Bobby Durkins, at least not here. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. The subscribe button is free. So if you're sitting on the toilet watching this, maybe you're at work and you're supposed to be working, but you're not, hit the subscribe button. Driving down the road, pull over, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and pass this along to your friends and neighbors. So let's dive right in. In fact, I'm going to turn this around for a second. Being a Clemson fan and having to sit and watch Georgia finally stop wasting their talent. They've had talent for years. Georgia's always recruited well, always had a really, really devout fan base. But seeing them actually implement their talent and win a national championship last year was just absolutely terrible as a Clemson fan. It was annoying. I didn't like it. I still don't like it. But to turn around and watch them in a second year in a row, after having to replace a lot of talent, make it all the way back to the national championship game, and play for a second one in a row, which, by the way, I'm not saying that TCU can't win this ball game. I'm not saying that. But I believe Georgia is the clear favorite for the reasons I'm going to get to in just a moment. It makes me sick to have to sit and watch it, especially when I'm watching my team now digress. And so let's dive, and I'll address that more in just a second. So let's dive in. Why do I believe that Georgia will win this game against TCU? Why do I feel comfortable with saying or making that prediction? I'm going to tell you why. It's the guy who is the head coach, Kirby Smart. That's why. Let's pause right there. Leadership means everything. Leadership means absolutely everything. So for some of you who just thinks that coaching does not matter, you have pudding for brains. A great example, and I'm talking about coaching longevity hinges from the head coach. Nick Saban has had more coaches under him leave than anyone else. He has had so many coaches leave, yet he's won 6 national championships. I talked about this in my last video. Talk about it again. Did you see the trophy presentation for the Sugar Bowl? How Nick Saban was standing there? See, in Nick Saban's mind, his approach is championship football. Everybody else in the country would have been slapping 5. We won the Sugar Bowl, man. He doesn't care. He was 4 points away from the college football playoff. He was kept out. But longevity and a coach doing very, very well, or a team doing very, very well, hinges on the coach. That's it. The head coach. You say, well, Brian, give me an example of the other side of that. The other side of the coin. I have two for you right off the bat. Ed Orgeron. Ed Orgeron, his first year, he had Steve Ensminger, he had Dave Aranda, and I think it was his first year. And Joe Burrow transferred in from Ohio State. He was they got beat what 30-0 by Alabama. If my memory serves me correct, that was the very same year that Clemson beat Alabama 44-16. The next year, they hire a young quarterback whisperer named Joe Brady. Yeah, Joe Brady was out of the NFL. Yes, folks. And I'm going to say this for anybody who's trying to be smart here. It goes, well, Joe Brady never called any plays. Ensminger was calling the plays. I don't care if Joe Brady was coming in and teaching the team how to say their ABCs. Something happened while he was there and after he was gone. Because after he was gone, yeah, they had a lot of talent ship out. But remember, Burrow was there the year before Brady got there. And when Brady left, not only did he helped everybody. I don't know what he did, but he did it. Just kind of like Jeff Scott for Clemson, but that's another story. Orgeron left, or Orgeron was left with Ensminger and himself, and it went down. And the next year, it went down, and then they fired him. Gene Chizik at Auburn won a national championship. Yeah, he had once in a lifetime talent. Went down, was fired. Okay, let's dive into Georgia. Kirby Smart in the post game after beating Ohio State. And I'm going to say this, some of you Georgia fans are going to get ticked at me, but I really don't care. I'm complimenting your team. Stop being so sensitive, but it's the truth. You did not win that game the other night. Ohio State blew it because they were missing 15 players by the end of the game. I say 15. They were missing a lot of players. But you know what? You won it. And what did Kirby Smart say at the end of the game? What did he say that was so amazing? We played like trash. That's my paraphrase. We got to fix this. Now, if this was at Clemson, here's what Kirby would have said. We got here, didn't we? And we won. So I don't want to hear it. I'll go coach somewhere else. Not Kirby Smart, and that's the reason why Georgia is going to win this game. I believe wholeheartedly they're going to win this game. I'm not saying TCU doesn't stand a chance, but Kirby Smart is focused. He's ready to clean up he's ready to clean up the trash. He's going to push his coaches to scheme and push their players in ways they've never been pushed before. That's the difference. The head coach, Kirby Smart. His hunger and desire to win another national championship. And that desire and hunger pushing his coaches to enact the proper processes, practice, and game plan. That's the difference. You are right, Rub the Rock 64 comment here in the comments section. Smart and Saban are ruthless. I can't say that about Sweeney now, but I can say that Smart and Saban, they're ruthless. And it looks like Smart's going to win a national championship for us. So that's reason number one. Number two, scheming again, Todd Monken is the offensive coordinator for Georgia. For those of you who don't know, the play calling is fantastic. The adjustments are fantastic. He did a great job. He's done a great job pretty much all season. Todd Monken is another reason why. What specifically, Brian? His scheming, his play calls, his adjustments. That means everything. His game prep. That means everything, folks. And I'm going to give you, some of you need to hear this. Southern Buck 352 said Kirby locked the doors after the game and wouldn't let media in for a while as he lit those boys up in the locker room. Good. That's what he's supposed to do. But here's the thing. Southern Buck 352. If Kirby goes in there and he lights them up, but he doesn't turn around and light his coaches up, the guys who were paid a lot of money to prepare those guys, he's in the wrong. But I believe he did that to us. I believe probably the conversation that he had with his coaches was probably much worse in private. What are y'all doing? You're paid a lot of money to coach a game. Could you not get ready for that? It's probably much more colorful language. Somebody asked me one time, are you afraid to cuss on it? No, I do my very best not to use profanity. I'm just being honest. I think there's more intelligent ways to say certain things. That's me. Don't always adhere to it, but that's my focus. And folks, Todd Monken is one of the reasons that this team has had success. Georgia's defense couldn't stop them boys the other night. I'm just being on. I'm being completely and totally honest. Georgia's defense could not stop Ohio State the other night. Ohio State was missing Travion Henderson. They were missing Jackson Smith and Gaba. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I can't remember. Marvin Harrison Jr. ended up getting hurt. They couldn't stop him if you put a gun to their grandma's head. And sometimes in certain games, your one side of the ball is going to have to prop up the other. Now, in Clemson's case, it's always the offense or the defense in Jigba. Thank you. Jackson Smith and Jigba, the wide receiver from Ohio State, was injured, didn't play the other night. Go look up his highlight reels, and I'm far from an Ohio State fan. Can't stand Ohio State. No offense, Sue Kavanaugh and a few others who support the channel, who are big Ohio State fans. But my point in all of this is sometimes you have to prop up the other side of the ball. Yeah, Harrison had 5 catches, and then he got hurt. Had Harrison not got hurt, and those 5 catches were monumental. That's what kept some drives alive. So, SEC dog, the homeboy who shows up, he's one of my favorite pot stirrers who's not a Clemson fan. You're right. You want a shootout. And what I was going to say is in Clemson, it's always the defense propping up the offense, and that's why we've seen what's happened. And then the defense gets tired, and you start giving up points, and everybody's questioning the defense when what they should be is questioning the offense. Should be doing. But you're right. Todd Monken came in and he kept them in the game. He used the talent. A lot of people would talk about, listen to me, folks. It's like building a house. There's different parts of a house. You can't say what's the most important part of the house. All of it. Find a house with a good foundation, with good walls. It's insulated, with electricity, with a roof on top, but you don't have plumbing. That house is terrible. For a championship football team, you have to have all the pieces. That's the reason it's a championship football team. So, yeah, Stetson Bennett came out and played his butt off. Yeah, your players. I don't know all your players' names. It doesn't matter if I could tell you their shoe size. But they came out and they played very, very well. But Todd Monken put them in that place, and that's called scheming. That's called game preparation. That's called player development. What are the 3 pillars, in my opinion, of coaching? What are the 3 simple pillars? And this is not all of them, but this is the 3 pillars that coaching actually is built on: recruiting, player development, and scheming. There we go. Now pay me $500,000. Because there's a lot of people who is neglecting those 3 things. Those are the 3 things from which all good things flow when it comes to football. Georgia has that. Georgia has elite talent. Number 3 reason I believe that Georgia's going to win this ball game is their success running the ball against the 3-4 defense of TCU. No disrespect to TCU, but I'm going to tell you this, TCU. You did that to Michigan, and Michigan is a good football team. Georgia's better. And I believe Todd Monken, I could be totally wrong unless he saw something I didn't see. And you know what? He's an expert in his field. He's supposed to see things that I don't see. If I can see the same things that Todd Monken can see after all these years of coaching, but I can't see it, or I can see the same thing that he sees after all of these years, I don't think he would be an expert. They shouldn't pay him that much money. I say that for any coach at any school. If I can see the simple things that you can't see, you don't need to have your job. Well, everybody sits in the. You know what? I'm going to go on a personal rant here. Okay, it's 16 minutes. I'm going to give myself till 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Personal rant here. Growing up, I always heard from people who would always flounder and go do the dumbest things, or they would have be a spineless jellyfish. I always heard people when I was younger say, "Well, you get a little older, you'll understand why people does what they do." So I I got a little older, and then somebody told me, said, "Well, you wait till you start working a job, and then you'll understand." You know what? I worked a job and found out there was just another excuse. And then they tell me, "You wait till you get married and see what happens." Yeah, I love my wife with all my heart. She loves me. Some days, we're two individuals. Some days we get on each other's nerves. But you know what? I don't pack my bags and go looking for the next best legs and short skirt out there who will tend to my little heart's immature desires at that moment. You wait till you have kids. You know what I find out? It's just a bunch of excuses for a bunch of lame weaklings. I'm not saying that I don't mess up. When I do mess up, I come back and say, messed up. I can be specific about it, and I'm going to do my best not to do it again. I'm at the 17-minute and 30-second mark. To honor what I said, I'm gonna say this. These coaches who hide behind the job is hard, I look at their paycheck and say, that's why you're paid that much. That's why you're paid that much to make those things happen. Because other than that, if you're not a specialist, why are you paid so much? Go coach high school football somewhere. With that said, I believe Todd Monken is going to take advantage of that 3-4 defense. Georgia is massive up front, and they're not only massive, they can move the ball, and their running backs are fantastic. You need to understand that, TCU. 3-4 defense is fan-flippin-tastic. 3-4 defenses are fan-flippin-tastic against a pass-heavy team. That's the reason they've been running it, because the Big 12 is very pass-heavy, and it worked. And I know TCU fans, your rebuttal to me is going to be, well, look what we did to Michigan. Yep, great. Michigan's best running back did not play. It didn't. No disrespect, to just telling you the truth. I've had to be very honest about these guys, and I love my team. So why would I pull punches on you? It's not even throwing punches. It's just telling the truth. It hurts. I think Monken's going to wear them down, and he's going to draw in. So for those of you who don't know, 3-3-5 is 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers with 5 secondary members. A mixture of cornerbacks and safeties. It focuses on stopping the pass. Folks, I'm telling you, I am telling you, there's something going on with the chat section, folks. Folks, I'm telling you, and I'm in on this. I think they'll run the ball all night. and then they might suck in that defense and then hit one over the top. I'm not saying you're not going to see Georgia throw the football. I'm telling you the scheme would get that massive team out in front of this 3-down lineman and take advantage of it. That's what I think is going to happen. Right now, I'm not willing to give a score for the Georgia game. I'm going to do a preview of both teams. I am going to newsflash. I'm going to do a video of why I think TCU could win the game, but I believe Georgia will win this ball game. I believe they will win this ball game. Stetson Bennett would have to be incarcerated, and Todd Monken would have to go missing for Georgia to absolutely lose this ball game, I believe. And this is terrible. This is terrible to sit here and watch as my team, they're making excuses. Kirby Smart's not making excuses. He's making changes. And that's the reason Georgia will win the national championship. Folks, if you're brand new here again, hit the subscribe button. Even if you're a cheapskate, all you have to do is hit that button. It's free. Even if you're lazy, you can take your lazy thumb and hit the subscribe button, and boom, you're there. I'm not Bobby Durkins. I'm Brian Knight. At least right now I am. Oh, Bobby might be coming out a little later on to talk about this game and Georgia. And just go ahead and tell you right now, he's not too happy, but who cares? Pass this along to all your friends, neighbors, people who absolutely hate my guts, even on a bad day. And it is a bad day. It's good to be a Tiger. Y'all take care and look forward to seeing you again on the stream.